Another advancement in IVF or in reproductive medicine is the freezing of the egg, of the embryo. All right. Now, in the beginning, more than 10 years ago, there's this freezing method called slow freezing method, and which is not so effective as what we currently use now. We call it vitrification or ultra rapid, or that's a snap technique of embryo freezing. Now, just to illustrate, slow freezing takes about 1.5 hours to freeze an embryo, and you usually use a machine to freeze it. Whereas in the vitrification or ultra rapid freezing, you just take between 30 seconds to 1 minute to freeze an embryo. Now, to freeze an embryo, you need to dehydrate the embryo. That means you extract water out from the embryo, and the cryoprotectant goes in to prevent freeze death in the embryo. Now, of course, the extraction of water is not 100% efficient. So some water will remain in the embryos. So if slow freezing were to be used to freeze the embryo, so because of the long time to freeze it, 1.5 hours, water has a chance to form ice within the cell. So ice being very sharp, it will pierce the cell and it will kill the cell. So when you thaw the embryo, 50% of that embryo will survive. All right. So, but if the latest technique, vitrification or ultra rapid freezing, the same extraction of water happens, and the cryoprotectant goes in to protect this embryo from freeze death. But the only difference is that once the embryo has undergone the last step of the dehydration process, the embryo is placed onto a receptacle and immediately plunged into liquid nitrogen within 30 seconds to 1 minute, that area. It's so fast. Liquid nitrogen, you know, the temperature is minus 196 degrees Celsius. It's so fast that water that remains in the embryo will not form ice. Instead, the whole embryo becomes like a glass-like entity. So when we warm the embryo, we don't call it thaw because there's no ice in the embryo, the survival rate of that embryo is 95 to 100%. So that's one of the advancements in survival of the embryos after storage. Yeah, this is very important because there's no wastage of the embryo, and we are very confident to just warm one embryo and transfer, and the patient will have a high chance of getting pregnant. Selection of the sperm, and then the selection of the egg, and the freezing of the embryo, the effective freezing of the embryo, latest technology, this will add to the positive outcome for the patient in getting a healthy baby.